All right. Welcome to another episode of Side Note, the podcast dedicated to underground dance music and all things related. And I am your host, Nick. Pleasure today to introduce you to house and techno extraordinaire, Errol Bangz. What up, Errol?
Yo, what up, man? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming by. So the first question that I have for you that I thought of is, tell me, and this is one that I never remember to ask other guests, but tell me about how you came up with your DJ name. So is Errol Bangz like a sentence? It's like Errol Bangz, like Nick fucks. Is that where you're going for?
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah. And funny story. Well, not funny story, but behind the name is like, Errol is my dad's middle name.
Okay.
So it's funny, like we have the same first and last name, but we don't have the same middle name.
Okay.
So like on all of my stuff, it's like the third. I'm like the third of whatever my government is.
Right.
And but I'm technically not. But anyways, my dad passed away when I was a baby.
Oh shit.
So I was like, I want him to live forever in a sense. So I was like, Errol Bangz, like, because the shit bangs, and I want Pops to live forever, kind of shit. So I was like, yeah, all right. I'm like, it has a ring to it. I'm like, I like that.
You're like, this guy bangs, so
yeah, he bangs.
why not? Okay, and then so do you go by Errol? And you don't have to, if you don't in your regular life, you don't have to tell me what your regular life name is, but do you go by Errol in your regular life? You do? Okay,
yeah, I do.
Okay. But you don't go by Errol Bangz in your regular life. Mr. Bangz? Paging Mr. Bangz?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Okay. So another question that I like to ask kind of most people who come on is like, tell me about the last gig that you played and kind of what was the scene and who was there and like what was the deal?
Last gig I played. I think I was downtown at the Pattern Bar.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was like, I think it was like in October.
Okay.
Like during like Halloween or whatever. And it was more like a housey thing.
Okay.
Like, not techno. So
Who was throwing the party? Do you remember?
it was one of my friends, the dude named Sebastian. So shout out to Sebastian. He's a stand-up dude.
Okay.
Yeah, so he threw the event, and it was like his first time like throwing something. So he hit me up like, "Hey man, come through. Like I want you to like throw a set down." And I was like, "All right, I'm in."
Nice. Pattern Bar, I feel like, is one of the more popular joints for people to throw parties, especially smaller parties.
Yeah.
For like kind of promoters who aren't pulling like hundreds of thousands of people. Like I think it's a great venue for like for crews that want to throw like more intimate shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I want to say like every week I see something going on there.
There's always something going on at the Pattern Bar, bro.
And there was a dude I interviewed, Ray Cash. I don't know if you know him.
I do know.
Okay.
Well, I don't know him.
You know of him.
Shout out to Ray Cash, man. He's a super nice guy.
Yeah. Shout out to Ray Cash. Shout out to Ray Cash. I hope you're living it up in Barcelona, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does Temple Tuesday.
Yeah.
Which is like a house and techno night on Tuesdays, like very experimental, which is fucking awesome. Because it's not just kind of like what's popular. And I think he was at Pattern Bar for a while, and he's moved around, but I know that Pattern Bar was definitely like part of the repertoire for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
So shout out to them. And then, you and I had kind of talked about before we started rolling, what I appreciate about your sound is that you're kind of both house and techno.
Yeah.
Which I think we're definitely and desperately like in need of more these days. Not that I have any gripe with people who are just like pure house or pure tech house or whatever, or pure techno, pure hard techno. But I do know that for me personally, like I love kind of the gamut of both.
Yeah.
And if I go to a party, like what I want to hear is kind of the blend of both. Like give me a little bit of groove, give me a little bit of like hard shit, like take me on a journey.
Yeah, man. That's what it's about, man. Like that's always been my aim. Like when I play a set, I'm like, I want it to be an experience. You know what I mean? Like you said, like a journey through sound. Like just give you like some melodic shit, some hard shit.
Yeah.
Some groovy shit.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna get it.
Yeah.
Fucking with me, you're gonna get it, bro.
Yeah. Which is, and I definitely vibe that from the stuff that I listen to you of yours. You know, we were talking about it before we were rolling, you know, like the mix I listened to of yours, I think it was on SoundCloud, was kind of techno and house merged together.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I listened to a single that you put out, I think it was on Spotify, and it was like very much more on the techno end with like kind of like on the acid tip. So it's like, oh, this guy's like, he's kind of doing it all, which is dope.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess that kind of leads to, you know, like, and this is a common question for a lot of the guests that come on, like walk us through like your rave journey. Where did it begin? You know, how did we get to where we are now? And, you know, what were the influences?
So it started back in, I want to say like 2017. So I was already producing, but I was like producing hip hop.
Okay, 2017 is like pretty recent.
Yeah, it's pretty recent.
Okay.
So I was like always involved with music, but I was doing like hip hop and R&B. I started getting bored because, you know, I just felt like hip hop and R&B was like kind of restricted in a sense. It's like, so I stumbled upon, I already knew about like house music and EDM, but I didn't like dive into it. So I was just like, I just started doing my homework and I found DJs that I liked. So like 2018, I went to my first nightclub.
2018, okay.
Yeah. That was like my first time. And I still am like a huge fan of like Mark Knight, DJ Mark Knight.
Fuck yeah,
like,
Tool Room. Shout out to Mark Knight and Tool Room.
Yes. Incredible. And he had it was funny, man. It was like last minute as hell. He played a show at 1720 Warehouse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I got the tickets last minute. I was like, this is my only chance. I'm like, I don't know anybody, but I don't care. I'm going by myself.
So you knew the music already. So you were already, like, you had listened to it before, but you hadn't been to a party yet.
Yeah, I haven't been to a party yet.
Okay.
So I was like just doing my homework up until that point. And it was that night it was Mark Knight, Dosum and Ilias and Barrientos. I like those guys.
Hell yeah. I like Dosum a lot too. He's been around for a minute. Yeah.
So I went out that night by myself, man. Didn't know anybody. Like just solo.
Respect. Shout out to those who've done the solo outing. I feel like it's a hard thing to do. Like once you're there, it's usually okay. Mm-hmm. But I feel like motivating oneself to go to a party by yourself is really fucking difficult.
Yeah,
but
it is.
But yeah, sorry to digress. Please.
No,
go
all good. So where was I? Yeah, I went and it was funny, man, because I met people that I'm still friends with like today. Right. Night, like just going on my own, like
rave fam.
Yeah, like rave fam, and I got to meet Mark Knight that night. Took a picture and shit.
Nice.
Super nice guy, man. Super nice guy.
He was cool?
Yeah, he was cool.
Okay.
Yeah, after he played the set, he like went around shaking hands and
what?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Like the mayor. He's running for president. Kissing babies and shit. Man. But that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got to meet him.
Got to meet him. Took a picture. Like one of my friends, like to this day, Ray fam. He was like, "Yo," he was like, "You want a picture?" I was like, "Hell yeah." Mark Knight was like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like, "All right, cool." And I told him, I was like, "Bro, you got me like, you inspire me." And he was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Yeah, for sure, man. Like, it's all good." I'm like, "Thank you." Man. I was like fanning out and shit. I'm like, "All right, let me chill."
I've been there. Okay, so then you had a great time. You know, I guess it was eye opening. And then where did it go from there?
Yeah. So from there, I was like, I started like, I kept producing.
And so like we're using Ableton, FL Studio, like what was
FL Studio?
Shit? Okay.
Yeah. So FL Studio and Machine Studio.
Okay.
So I just kept like experimenting, like, you know, trying to find my sound and everything. I honestly, I don't think I found my sound until like 2019, 2020-ish.
Okay.
But during that time I just kept going out by myself.
Man, respect. Yeah.
Just to get like inspiration, you know. And I went to go see DJs that I liked. Like I went to see Mark Knight, Defected played at Sound nightclub.
It was like a Defected night. Like
it was a Defected night. Sam Divine.
Okay.
She played. And I went to see Dennis Cruz. It was funny because I didn't know about Dennis Cruz until like I bought the tickets. I was just like, fuck it, I want to go out.
Dennis Cruz like more of the techno tip though, right?
Yeah, like techno. Dennis Cruz to me is like, I always describe it as like street house. It's like ghetto as fuck, bro.
Sometimes like I feel like with him, sometimes it's just like hard techno shit. Like I feel like sometimes his shit to me sounds like it could be on drum code or something.
Yeah.
And then other times, yeah, like it could be like undefected. So I guess to what we were talking about, he sort of spans both like the house and techno spectrum.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, so like I went to go see Dennis Cruz, and I think that's the night I saw Ray Cash play. I think he like opened for Dennis Cruz that night, and I hit him up on Instagram.
Was this that Sound? It must have been at Sound.
Yeah, it was
right?
that Sound.
Yeah.
I hit him up afterwards, like, bro, I fan out. Like,
You hit up Ray Cash?
yeah,
nice.
I hit up Ray Cash after the fucking event, because I fan out. Like when I like a DJ, I'm like, I'm hitting him up. I'm reaching out. Like,
Right.
Fuck that.
Dude, I'm sure he loved that. I mean, he's like the nicest dude.
Yeah, he responded and everything.
Yeah.
He was like, "Hey, man, love, respect, bro." Like, I'm like, "Yeah, we'll play back to back one day." He was like, "Yeah, for sure." I'm like, cool.
Yeah, I mean, like, shout out to Ray Cash who's been on the show, but like I remember, I was trying to get him on, and it like fell through, and I was totally expecting like he was just doing the Hollywood thing, like saying that he's gonna do it, and then it fell through, and then it just fell to the wayside. Mm-hmm. And then like weeks, if not months later, he like writes me back on Instagram. He's like, "Bro, I'm so sorry this fell through. Like, I don't want you to think that like, I'm just like, I forgot about it or whatever." And like, he remembered and like reached out like specifically to like reschedule coming on, which like massive appreciation. And so, yeah, I think that like exemplifies, and his reputation is like, as one of like the nicest dudes in the industry. And I would say that my experience with him like validates that. It sounds like yours as well.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Super nice guy. Super cool.
So who else besides, like
shit.
Like, so I guess like, well, let me phrase it another way. What are some of the like standout performances that you've seen in the years since you first like started going out in like 2017?
Mark Knight is like
still like that's still at the top
tier, man.
Okay.
Like, he doesn't fucking miss, bro. Like everybody I went to go see up until now, like they didn't miss. It's like perfect, bro. But Mark Knight, and these are people I went to see like multiple times. Like every time Mark Knight is out here, I'm like, I'm going, no question. Mark Knight, Dennis Cruz. I'm trying to think of who else I went to go see.
Is Mark Knight your GOAT, like straight up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Like tour room is like the shit, bro.
Okay.
So, I said Dennis Cruz. I can't think of their names. I saw them. Oh my god, I'm like having a brain fart. I can't think of them. But
DJ TBA, DJ TBD.
Right. Goddamn. Oh yeah. Defected, and I think that was it up until then. The shit show happened, the pandemic happened, and the shows were just like non-existent after that.
Although in 2021, I feel like they came back with like a vengeance. I've talked about it before. It's like now you can't decide what party you want to go to because on any given weekend, there's probably like 4 DJs that you like and know, which is awesome. Although I will say like post-pandemic, it feels a lot more dystopian.
Yeah.
All the venues are surrounded by encampment, which is like pretty dystopian feeling. Sure. The music has gotten, not that it's bad, but it's gotten darker and faster. Yes. Right? And then I feel like the fashion has gotten like kind of darker and like more gothy.
Yeah.
To where like I'll go out and I'll just be like I feel like I'm in a fucking movie. Like I feel like I'm in Blade Runner, like 2043.
No, facts.
Like everything from getting here to being here to the music to the people around me. Like, am I in a fucking video game? Like no hate, like it's still fun, right? But I'm like, this is different.
It is different. I went to this. It was like earlier this year. Well, not this year. Fuck. It's a new year. Last year. My mistake. I was going to like a lot of underground shit. So I have like these. I have these spiky boots that I don't wear often. So I went to like my first like underground techno event early last year.
Everyone's wearing spiky boots.
Everybody's wearing spiky boots, and I was like, oh shit, I can wear these.
Yeah,
like this is gonna be cool. Like, okay, cool.
Oh, you were mad about it? You were like, oh, I didn't get the memo that everyone was wearing
it
the
was
same
kind of like
shit.
that.
Like I thought, you know.
I was like, oh shit, I didn't get the memo. Like, okay, we can wear chokers and shit. I'm like, hey, that's my shit. Cool, I'm in.
That's where the scene is at now. That's where the scene is at. And again, no hate. It's just like, as someone who's been doing it for a long time, and I feel like the theme of this show is like me as an old man, like so much has changed.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, get off my lawn. And like, I really don't want to be that guy, but you know, I would be remiss in not pointing out that, you know, like some shit has changed.
Oh yeah, it definitely has changed. I mean, I'm kind of like fresh to it, but I watch, like, I go down a black hole and I just watch a bunch of shit, bro, like documentaries. So I can see what, like, where you're coming from. Like, yeah, shit is different. Like, it is different.
Yeah, like it's darker, but like, you know, I think it's like just a reflection of the times. And I don't know if you know Orly Gal, but I had her on a couple weeks ago, and
yeah,
you know, I was giving her like my theory of that. Like, I remember like right after 9/11 happened, the music got really minimal and dark. And similarly, I feel like right after COVID, the music has gotten like super fast and super dark, and the scene has gotten like super like gothy. So, you know, I could be talking out of my ass. Like I could have totally just made that up. But my perspective is I do feel like, you know, like whatever's going on in the world does have an influence on
oh yeah, for sure,
the rave scene and the music. You know, so like maybe in 10 years when everything's just like, hopefully, knock on wood, like hunky dory again, the music's just gonna be like really cheesy and like happy, and like all the kids are gonna be wearing like stuffed animal like backpacks again.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Because like in the 90s, that was the thing. Like kids were wearing their like Tickle Me Elmo backpacks and shit, and like giant pants with like candy bracelets, and they would have like pacifiers and shit. Where it was like, oh, like this is how you dress when the world is doing great. Because everything's rainbows and unicorns and Elmo. And now that things have taken a turn for the worst, it's chokers and, you know, like, I totally, you know, maybe I'm making this up, but like,
I think you got a point. I even think about like the 70s, like the kind of music that was coming out.
Or the disco shit?
Yeah, the disco shit. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, those were happy times.
Yeah.
Like shit was great.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like, you know, things started getting like dark in the 90s, like early 90s. It was like all grunge.
Yep.
Everything's grunge.
Fucking I love the grunge.
So, I mean, I think if looking back though, it looks like it's sort of like a sine wave. Like it goes up and it goes down.
It happens.
Down. So.
You know, cause it's kind of like that old saying, like history repeats itself kind of thing. So yeah, you're gonna have dark times. Dark times produces dark shit. Dark music, film, all that shit, bro. So that's where we at right now.
Yeah, we are in a dark time. We are in a dark time. Actually, I meant to ask you. I saw that you posted something on your gram, like this LA is not the LA that I grew up in. What did you mean by that?
Okay, so how can I? It's just different, you know, because I spent my whole life here. So I see people, no shots at anybody. It's like I see people moving here and they think it's something that it's not.
I think it's gonna be like glamorous and like
yeah. And I'm like, bro, this shit is ugly. Like it's ugly, bro. Like the crime and everything, bro. Like I grew up in the hood, so it's like that shit. I don't know. It's like it is like non-existent now. Like a lot of the shit that I grew up seeing and like experienced, it's being like overshadowed by people coming here like trying to chase the dream kind of thing. It's like, oh shit, that shit doesn't exist anymore. Like,
yeah, I mean, chase the dream, it looks different. You know, I was talking to my friend about it the other day, and it's like when I was like 25, so this would have been like the early 2000s, right? Like LA was dominated by Hollywood. And everything was all about like the gatekeepers. You know, it's like, you need to get an agent. And I've talked about this on the show too. Like, I got an agent at CAA. I'm like shitting myself because I'm so excited that somebody from CAA wanted to rep me. And then like, now I'm doing auditions for a show on CBS. And, you know, I pray to God that they'll like let me be on their show or whatever. And everyone was like bowing to the gatekeepers. Like, oh, if only they'll choose me and I can be like one of the chosen and like be part of the Hollywood elite or whatever. And now chasing the dream looks different, right? It's more internet based. It's more like, I want to be an influencer. You know, or in some cases, like I want to be a DJ, or like chasing the dream looks so different than just like, I want to be in a sitcom on NBC, which is like what it used to be. So it's like, it's funny how different it is, because like, I feel like a ton of the people you see like trying to make it on the gram or trying to make it as DJs and stuff, maybe like 10, 15 years ago, they would be like auditioning to be on like commercials and TV shows, but it's shifted. And so I agree, like there are still people coming to chase the dream, but the dream that they're chasing looks very different than the one that like they were chasing when like we were coming up.
Yeah, exactly.
Or go on, sorry.
Yeah, and I was just saying, I was just going to say, like, to a degree, I kind of feel like I kind of missed gatekeepers. because now it's like the way things are is like a lot of fuck shit is like put in the limelight.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of like, it's so, back when there was gatekeepers, at least they were like filtering out shit for you.
Exactly.
So they're like, okay, we've cut out a lot of the bullshit. So what you're consuming from us is like better, right? So now you got to like sift through. It's like, you know, like to use like music as an example, you got to sift through a lot more like bullshit music to get to the good music. You got to listen to a lot more like bullshit DJs to like get to the good DJs.
Exactly. Man, I don't even want to go there. Like, it's some shit DJs that are like in the spotlight. I'm like, how did you get here, bro? Like, it's crazy.
But you know, I mean, even back then, I think it was like that too. You know, like, do you know Theo? Theo's like an old school like rave guy. He's still around, and he's pretty legend in these parts. And I had him on the show like early on, maybe like episode 4 or something. And he was talking about how, you know, he felt like he came up like in the early 90s, like 80s, 90s, you know? Yeah. And he was talking about how like back then, like the gatekeepers kind of decided that if you're going to be like a techno DJ, you got to play trance. Like what trance was back then. Yeah. And like if you're a guy, you got to be like a tall, blonde, like white guy, you know, and if you're a girl, like you got to be like a tall, blonde, white girl. Yeah. And like those were who like the gatekeepers were choosing. Yeah. And granted, those people were good DJs. Like the people that were like being elevated to the limelight were good DJs, but they also conformed to a particular image that the gatekeepers were trying to push. Yeah. And there were tons of other DJs, right, who probably were as good, but because they didn't conform. And that's where Theo was saying, like, you know, because he's like a Latino dude, you know, and like he's not like jacked or anything. Yeah. And he felt like he didn't get a fair shake because of that. And I tend to agree, because he's like fucking legit. Like he's really good. He's one of the only DJs that I know of that is also a good turntablist. So he can, rare these days, right? Man. So he can drop like the house and trance and also be scratching over those tracks at the same time. It's like, who does that? Who does that these days, right?
Nobody does.
So to your point though, like, so on the one hand, you got to sift through a lot more bullshit these days with the music. But on the other, I feel like it's more democratized and it's less sort of like systemic in terms of like I don't want to say like racist, but it's less like biased toward a particular like look, you know?
Sure, yeah.
Whereas like you can be anyone now, and like, you know, like Honey Dijon, right? It's like trans woman is now like black trans woman is now one of like the biggest, you know, DJs on the planet.
Hey, shout out to Honey Dijon.
Yeah, shout out to Honey Dijon.
I fucking love her. Like she, just real quick story. I bombarded her like back in like 2019, I think. I was just like posting videos of me cooking up and shit, tagging her.
Oh, really?
And she finally fucking like liked something, commented, and then followed me back.
Nice.
Bro, I almost fainted. I was like, yo, I'm like, that's crazy.
Dope.
I was like, fucking love you. Thank you.
Did you see her show like a few months ago, like in October or November?
Nah, I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did not make it out to that one either. I went to a different one that night. I heard it was legit. I think it was at Grand Park or something. So like outdoor party.
Yeah.
Do you do like any of like the burner shit, like All Day I Dream or like Mayan Warrior kind of thing?
Not. You know what's funny, man? Like I really don't go out much.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like very like introverty. So it's like when I go out, it's like every now and then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like a lot of the DJs, right, or like a lot of DJs are pretty introverted.
Yeah.
So I agree. And I'm with you on that. Like for somebody who has a show about this shit, I feel like I don't go out like nearly enough.
That's crazy.
But I would say if you get a chance, like definitely check out like one of the kind of Burning Man parties.
And I'm open to it because I did like it was like, like more underground thing. Like sometime last year, I did two. I did like 2 desert raves, like more underground thing. So it was like, I do want to experience that like on a more grand scale.
Yeah, the burner shit, like the production is crazy. So basically it's like you're getting like Factory 93 level production, but instead of like techno music, which is what Factory 93 is like really throwing down these days, you're getting more like tech house. It's more of a blend. I guess people call it like playa tech, like like playa, like they call Burning Man the playa. So it's like kind of Burning Man techno, which is a little more, I don't know, like of a mixed bag.
Yeah.
But I feel like anyone who's into rave would like really enjoy it. Generally. Although, some people, like some of the hard techno heads are like, nope, I only want 150 BPM, like hard techno, and that's it. That's great. Fuck off. Which like no judge, right? Like it's just
no
like
judge, yeah, no
there's
judge,
just
no
like
judge.
so many different strokes these days.
It's like, yo, I like it. No, don't get me wrong, I like it, but it's like, fuck, how do I dance to this? Like,
yeah.
Like, you feel me? Like,
dude. So I went with a friend to shout out to Fallen Angel. I went to the Fallen Angel party for the first time like months ago, and then I subsequently had a bunch of those DJs come on the show. But that was my first like hard techno party.
Yeah.
And my friend and I were like, how do we dance to this? Like, what do we do?
You gotta do the
no. And then we saw a girl on the dance floor, and we're like, oh, she's figured it out. It's all in the shoulders. So I'm gonna.
Oh, here we go.
Okay. I just dropped my cup. We just cleaned it up and cut it out, and now we're going back to hard techno dance. Okay. It's like it's all in the shoulder.
Here we go.
Right? So you can bump like 150 BPM. You can bump 150 BPM as long as like your shoulders are kind of like bumping around.
Oh man.
And I was like, oh, like she figured it out.
I'm not gonna lie, that looks exhausting, bro. Like, that's a workout. I'm not.
Yeah, like
I'm not doing it, bro.
How do you keep that up? How do you keep that up, right? For 4 or 5 hours, like at a time.
Shit, I know
that I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah, if I do that shit, bro, it's like I need to be off shrooms, like, cause like real shit, like shrooms keep me up, like they'll keep me up for like 2 days, bro.
The mushrooms, is that your choice?
Yeah.
Psychoactive?
Yeah, that's my choice. I haven't had the opportunity to experience the whole, like, cause I want to do DMT, but I just
shout out to DMT.
I feel like that's like the next level. I'm like, yeah, shrooms are cute right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, can I get the good shit, you know?
Shrooms are cute. DMT is not cute.
No, I heard
it's like super profound but also terrifying. So I've done it. I've done it like quite a few times.
Terrifying.
Under multiple forms. So like smoked form is definitely like the most like mind shattering. But then it also comes in like ayahuasca form, which is more of like a slow burn. That's the one that you drink that like the, native South Americans have been doing. And that's like, that's more of a prolonged shroom-like trip.
Yeah.
Except that like the internal, visuals that you're getting are like much crazier. And, you do feel like you're communing with other entities, spirits, God, whatever you want to call it. The smoked one, and I'm not the first one to say this, like there's all kinds of videos you can find, but like it's like reality is like zipped and you see what's behind the curtain of whatever this like 3D reality that we live in is. And it's like this mind fuck because you're like, oh, holy shit. Like the reality that I know has been completely replaced with this other thing that's so weird and so bizarre that it's like frankly a little terrifying. But you come back to it, at least for me, like my experience was, one, so grateful to be back in whatever this is, because that shit was weird. So grateful to be back in my body and in my apartment. But then also like from then on, and I think like Joe Rogan has talked about this, like from then on, life is like 20% less serious because now you know that whatever this is isn't all there is.
It's funny because I know somebody I went to high school with, like personally. Like the 20% thing is interesting because it can backfire. Like no, seriously. Like I love this dude, but it's kind of like a bum now. Not a bum like homeless bum, but it's like he's like the way he navigates through life now. It's like it's like none of this shit matters.
Oh yeah, he's lost his motivation because he's like, fuck it, none of it matters. This isn't real.
Yeah.
Interesting. I can totally see how that can happen. I think my experience of it though was that it's like, when you've heard about like The Secret and like the law of attraction and all that like new agey shit, right? where it's like, if you like focus your vibe into being like abundant.
Oh, the vibe shit.
Yeah. If you focus your vibe.
Here we go.
If you focus your vibe on being abundant, like you will be abundant. And my experience was like, oh yeah, this shit isn't that serious. And also all that other shit that those hippies are talking about, I'm more inclined to think is real because of what I've experienced with the DMT. So then from there, like there's this idea of like conscious creator, right? Like, are you a conscious creator? Are you actively manifesting the reality that you want to live? Which sounds super cheesy, like super like hippy dippy new age. But for sure, like my experience after like, a bunch of psychedelics was like, oh, okay, I think that stuff is real.
No, it's real.
Yeah.
Like that's some real shit. Like it's cheesy as it sounds. Like, yes, like be a conscious creator.
Yeah.
Because I haven't done DMT. I've done shrooms, but I feel like I'm a conscious creator.
Yeah, man.
It's like, why am I doing this kind of thing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it can go both ways, right? Like either you decide the life that you want to live, and whether it's because it's vibration or just from a practical level, you have a positive mindset. So then you're taking actions that sort of add up into positive direction for your life, or life has its way with you, and then you are a victim of it, right?
Life makes you its bitch.
Yeah, you can either make life your bitch, or life can make you its bitch. And I think it's like a constant. I think it's a constant sort of like push in either direction.
Yeah.
And like it's up to the individual to sort of like try to push it and be like, oh, I'm creating my own shit. I am not gonna let like the fact that I had a traumatic childhood or the fact that X, Y, and Z happened in my life, like dictate what my future is gonna look like.
Yeah.
And I think that psychedelics are a good means to escaping it.
Oh, for sure.
So why haven't you tried like other stuff outside the mushrooms? You just haven't had a chance yet, or?
Well, for me, like my main thing, like, well, not main thing, like something I want to do is like DMT, and the opportunity hasn't presented itself. You know, I go out, I go to parties and shit. People run up to me and offer me a bump. Like, yeah, you want some coke? I'm like, nah, I'm already, yeah, I'm chill, bro. Like,
yeah,
it's weird. I randomly get like these bursts of energy and shit. I'm like, bro, I don't want coke. Like, you're gonna start some shit. No. So, yeah, nothing else I want to try except for DMT, really, and maybe acid.
Okay. Yeah. So, this is all for educational purposes only. We do not condone illegal activity here on this podcast. Thank you, Google, for letting us continue to speak about these things on an educational basis. But I got to recommend, all right, you got to do the DMT, you got to do the acid, you got to do the MDMA.
The who?
MDMA, AKA ecstasy or Molly.
Oh, yes. Okay, I'm sorry, I forgot. That's on my list too.
Okay,
that's on my list.
Right, acid, DMT, ecstasy. 5-MeO DMT. That's the toad. Have you heard of this?
Licking the toad?
No, you extract. They can extract the venom from this particular toad that then dries into a crystal, and then you smoke it.
Oh my god!
They can also figured out how to make it synthetically too, so that you don't have to fuck with the toad.
I want to fuck with the toad.
But yeah, if you want to fuck with a toad, you can fuck with a toad.
I got to get to the source, man.
But on all of planet Earth, the only place to get this compound in like suitable enough quantities to be able to trip off of is from this toad that only lives in the Sonoran Desert. And I did it. I did the retreat for it, and my experience of it is nothing less than like union with the source, aka God or the universe or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Oh damn, that's fucking heavy, man.
Yeah. So shout out to those things. But I will say that like, and people have heard me talk about it on this show before, like changed my life, like really changed my life. You know, like from a place of like, I don't like myself, I'm a victim of this.
Yeah.
Like, no like job prospects were but not the way they are now. Mm-hmm. Not like creating, not like meeting people, just like totally like isolated and like living in a state of just like self-loathing. And to go from that to like, I feel like where I am today, where like, I literally like think, oh my God, like I love my life so much. Like,
bro, you're doing great.
Like I love the life I live so much.
You're doing great.
Thank you. But like without the influence of, really like earth shattering psychedelics, I don't think, no way that I'm here today talking to you right now. So,
man, shit. Psychedelics, man. Shit.
Shout out.
Psychedelics.
Dude, by the way, I'm getting like major like Tupac vibes from you right now with like the flannel and like the the beanie.
Okay.
It's like, okay, you can just say thanks or whatever.
No. No. Thank you. And funny, Tupac is one of my favorite artists.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
But like, okay, I'm gonna say this. People tend to love Tupac for the ignorant shit. I love Tupac before Death Row.
Okay. Yeah.
I love that Tupac before Death Row Records. I like that Tupac. That was cool. Like classic album, what have you. But like Me Against the World, that album was like, that shit speaks to my soul, bro. I love that. I fell in love with that Tupac. So
yeah, it's really weird because like, we're gonna segue into hip hop a little bit. Even though it's electronic dance music, Tupac he still represents the house sensibility. But yeah, like you look at like interviews from before Death Row, and like he was like a poet, like just ultra like sensitive and thoughtful, and he'd be like, yeah, I wrote this like rhyme thinking about my mom and the son and like how it all like fits together. And then like 5 years later, he's like like Death Row,
this fucking gangster,
it's like
ass dude, bro.
So, but
like, it's crazy.
But it's like, so was that all just like kind of an act to like make money, or did he really like take a turn into the gangster shit?
I think Tupac was like, I think he was one of those like, okay, like we're gonna get into astrology here, because Tupac was a Gemini, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. So it's like it's one of those like, because I'm a Virgo, but I have a Gemini moon, so I kind of get that Tupac shit is like, I want to go and try this and I want to do this and be the fucking best at it. So it's like, bro, if I'm gonna be a gangster, I'm gonna be the fucking best like the hardest gangster you ever saw. So I don't necessarily think Tupac was acting. I really think that was him. It was like, shit, I'm a gangster now. I'm on Death Row Records. I'm gonna be a fucking gangster. And
I mean, I think maybe like I respect that more. I don't know like what I would prefer if it was more just like I'm just gonna do this because of Hollywood and I'm gonna play a gangster.
Yeah.
Or if he actually became one.
I think he became one. It's like the shit might have just got drilled.
It got to his head, yeah.
Yeah, it got to his head. And
yeah.
Tupac he's a fucking perfectionist, bro. Like,
yeah,
he's an artist, man. Like, so it's like he perfected the gangster. It was like he lived that shit.
Yeah, he's definitely a goat.
Yeah.
And to think about like how young he was, like when he died, right? Like I think he was like 26.
Yeah, he was 20, I think he was 25.
25, like
25, yeah.
Like that's a baby, you know? Like, and I remember I was like probably like, not to date myself, but I was probably like 13 when he died. Damn. And so like as a little kid, thinking about like this 25, it seemed like he was so old, like he was a grown ass man who like was like, you know, gunned down. Yeah. And then you look back and you're like, dude, he was like a fucking kid.
Bro, I'm telling you, it's okay. I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, it's something different about people from back in that time. It's like they were young, but it's like they had to grow up fast.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, cause like when I see a 25-year-old now, I'm not to date myself. Just like, I'm like, damn, like you're a fucking kid. Like, oh shit, like you're really a kid. But when you see people like Tupac and like the shit that they went through during that time, it's like they have to grow up fast, bro.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think generally speaking, there is a lot of that. You know, like you read about how like kids are leaving their house, their parents' house, like a lot later and shit like that. You know, I definitely have relatives who they could be living on their own, like they could totally support themselves, but they still choose to like live with their parents and stuff. Which is like, I'm not gonna judge. I just think things change, but it's different. It's different from like, you know, like when I was coming up, like by the time you were like 19, you wanted the fuck out of your parents' house. Yeah. And like you wanted to like live your life and be free and like do all that. And I feel these days, like the impetus is like it's not as strong. But it also like, you know, like I grew up in a time where like you would go to the mall. You would want to get away from your parents and you'd hang out with your friends at the mall. Yeah, we're going to hang out at the mall. But it was like, I guess like that is ingrained of like, I want my independence from my parents and I like anything I can do to get out of the house and go somewhere else, I'm going to do, which I think exists less these days, probably because of the internet, right? Because like you can still be at home, but you can completely like disconnect from your family and from your parents by like going into your laptop or your phone or whatever.
Exactly.
Whereas like, I think previous generations, maybe you didn't have that as much. Like I had like Super Nintendo and shit like that, but it's like different. It's not as like all engrossing as like TikTok, which like, even like I like today I can like pull up TikTok and just like get sucked in.
Bro, I'm like,
for like hours
on TikTok for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's actually sickening when I think about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, why did I spend 2 hours watching TikTok videos? It's fucking insane.
Yeah. And it's like weird how like compelling this shit is. You're like, wait, it's just like some dumb video that somebody in the middle of nowhere made. It's like literally like 15 seconds long. But I've watched it 10 times in the last hour.
Bro, that is the part that is disturbing to me. It's like, bro, we're watching the same fucking video.
Yeah.
That's 15 seconds long. It's like, we're watching that shit like 10 times.
Yeah.
Go to another one that's like 15, 30 seconds long. It's like, goddamn.
But you know, it's like to our earlier conversation about gatekeepers, right?
Yeah.
It's like now that there aren't any gatekeepers, like literally, like anyone can have something entertaining to offer to the world, right?
Yep.
You can literally be anyone living anywhere and make some dumb 15, 30-second video, and it's delivering value and entertainment to people all over the world, which is awesome.
It is awesome.
I think I've talked about it with Angel, our producer, who's back there, about how like I feel like the future is just going to be like everyone is there as a content creator, and everyone's just like monetizing the content they're making.
Yep.
And it's just like I feel like that can be awesome and dystopian at the same time. Awesome because like it's democratized and like anyone can make money, just like by like, ooh, here I am. Like whether you're like in a hut in India or like in an apartment in LA or wherever, like you have something that somebody else finds valuable and wants to watch and that you can make money off of. But at the same time, I can see it like taking a dark side where everyone's just like so narcissistic and just like, what can I offer?
I feel like we're like already there, bro.
That's true. That's
low
true.
Key. Like we're there. We're already there.
That's true. Like yeah, that actually brings up a good segue in terms of, I talk to a lot of my guests about like how they feel about social media and like what their relationship is with social media. Like, how would you feel like yours is? Do you feel pressure to like be putting shit out and like, hey, here I am eating a pizza or producing, like producing beats?
Hey, I'm at the park eating a fucking salad. Like, yeah, bro. You know what? Okay. Yes. At times I do feel the pressure, but I also remind myself like some real shit. It's like the internet is not fucking real at the end of the day. Like I have a life.
Is it?
Out.
Isn't it?
It's like I have a life outside of this shit. It's like the life outside of the internet. Like that's the shit that matters to me. So I'm not gonna lie. At sometimes I do feel pressure. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta post content. I need to release music, blah blah blah. And it's like, then at sometimes I'm like, yo, this shit doesn't matter. Like I'm good with or without it. You know what I mean? But I do want to get to a point to where I don't have to worry about it. Like somebody's posting my content, kind of shit.
Yeah.
I don't like it. It is a lot of pressure.
I feel it a little bit for this show too, although I don't do anything about it. Like generally I make like 2 posts a week for this show where it's like, hey, new episode. And then maybe like a day or 2 later, like, hey, don't forget to watch the new episode. And that's it.
Yeah.
But I do feel like I should be doing more, but I'm just like, what am I going to do? I have no idea like what's compelling, what's not. And like, there are some people who are just like really good. I mean, a lot of people, right, in this day and age that are really good at knowing, like, even if it is just like them eating a salad, they're doing it in a way that like, I want to watch the story.
You want to watch them.
Yeah. And I don't know how people do that. I don't know like what that X factor is, that makes you good at just like promoting or pushing random shit in your life.
I don't know, man. I think it might be like I don't even think it's like a method or something. It's the way the shit is like shot really. Like let's say like, okay, you eating a salad, like, and whoever's recording you eating a salad, like they're zooming in on the salad, and they fucking come out, pan out, and zoom in on you, and you're like, it's good. Like, yeah, it's fucking engaging. It's like,
it's good.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, fucking reviewing the salad, like fucking 5 stars.
Yeah,
shit. Yeah. So I think it's the way you just do it. It's like,
yeah, some people are good at that, and then like, cause some people like they try to flex really hard, like here I am on a private jet, and I feel like that's like a little try hard.
Yeah.
But there are some people who can post that shit and it doesn't come off as like they're trying to flex and like, like trying to show off.
Yeah.
And same with like the salad. It's like some people like they'll post them like themselves at a restaurant or something, and it's just like, bro, you're just trying to look cool at the cool restaurant.
Yeah.
And then other people, it's like the way they do it, whether it's because they paired the right music or it's the right caption or the right filter or the right angle that makes it like, oh yeah, cool. I don't know what that X factor is, right? But it's definitely like a real thing. But it just speaks to like how confusing and difficult I feel like navigating social media is in this day and age. And it's different, like, to what I was saying before, where it was like, oh, I need to have the gatekeeper, I need to have the agent at CAA so that I can get an audition on the sitcom on CBS. Now it's like, I need to like be pushing the social media so that I can drive my, follows. And
it's crazy, man. Like, cause now today it's like, you can't even get a agent or a manager if your numbers are not up.
Yeah. Because you still need those things too.
Because they won't fuck with you, bro. Like, it's like, oh, you have how many followers? Like, oh no, I don't want to take you on as a client. It's like that's what it's come to. It's like it's less about talent and shit and more about like numbers. Everything is like numbers driven. Like how many streams do you have? How many followers do you have? You know what I mean? And then people see those numbers, like if they're up, and it's like, yeah, I'll work with you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
How do you feel about, I definitely feel like I've seen people who buy follows.
Hey,
because there's definitely DJs I see out there where I'm like, dude, you got like 12,000 followers. I don't see how that can be true.
12,000 followers with like 100 something likes.
Yeah.
Shit doesn't add up.
Yeah. Doesn't add up.
It's not adding up.
Like I didn't realize how much of a thing that was until more recently, where I was like, oh, okay, like that's definitely happening. That's definitely happening.
How do I feel about it?
I mean, probably you don't like it, but
I think it's corny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's corny, bro. Like, it's I think it's corny, and I think it backfires because you're buying followers, but the followers you bought are not engaging.
Right.
So, yeah, it just doesn't add up. Like for me, like somebody who's fucking like, I pay attention to shit. I'm like, this motherfucker got 50,000 followers and he only gets like 200 likes on a post.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I'm like, yeah, you bought followers.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I didn't realize what a thing that was until. Did you read the news about this company called Aussie? They're like a media company that's trying to be like news for millennials. That's funny. But they got caught because like the COO of the company, like on a conference call with investors, impersonated a YouTube executive.
Oh, what?
He's like, oh, yeah, this is so-and-so from YouTube, and, like, we're really into this company. and then the investors, like, called YouTube, and they're like, hey, we just wanted to follow up on that call. Your boy said that they really like this company. And they're like, what? What are you talking about?
That's wild.
And it turns out that the guy from the company was impersonating this person. And then, like, reporters looked into it, and they're like, yeah, these guys have like X million subscribers on YouTube, but on any given video, like there's only like 4 comments. So they're like, nah, something's not adding up.
Yeah, man.
Dude, so like these guys, they bought like a shit ton of followers, and then they're using that to try to raise money from investors, even though it's all fake.
That's crazy.
I feel like that's like the most like egregious, right? The worst case scenario of that.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing like, hey, like come buy tickets and come watch me play at this rave. Like fine. Like you want to buy 10,000 followers so you can like push 12 more people to go see you at a rave. By all means.
That is insane.
I'm
not, bro. But I'm not buying followers.
Yeah. I mean, not gonna lie, like I thought about it because like I think the rationale is like, oh, well, maybe if I buy an initial like set of followers, then the real engagement will follow from there because people see that I have followers.
Yeah.
But to your point, like I think it's very transparent these days where you can see like, oh, that's totally fake. Like, and then it works against you because people see that you're the kind of person that would do that, and then
it's counterproductive, man.
Yeah,
I would just say like, cause you got a great thing going on here, so it's like,
thank you.
People they're gonna fucking flock
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, like that's not what my numbers are saying, but
hey, man, I believe in it, bro. It's like,
thank you.
Yeah, because I saw this thing. I was like, yo, I want to talk to bro.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Thank you for have a conversation.
Thank you for reaching out and like, you know, and yeah, we're definitely like, I will say that my numbers aren't that big, but I have like strong organic growth.
Yes.
And you know, like the engagement I have, I feel like is like really like engaged.
It really is, bro, because think about it. Like we don't have, especially in LA, like LA's underground, bro. Like a lot of upcoming DJs in LA, like they don't have a platform to go on and talk, and you know they don't have a voice in a sense. Like you're providing that, you're bringing value.
Trying to, thank you.
You're gonna win, bro, because you're bringing value.
Yeah, we'll see
to the community.
We'll see. Although you know, like I don't know if people are tired yet of hearing me be like, "Get off my lawn, you fucking goth ravers!" Like, not that I have anything against the goth ravers, but I feel like I do talk a lot about how, oh, it's so goth now versus what it used to be. Which, like, I feel like I need to like watch myself on that. But yeah, thank you, man. And you know, like, if anything, I think like it has been nothing short of amazing of like getting to know like all of the artists out there today. I mean, for one, I think there's more than there ever has been, right? Which is like a function of internet and et cetera. You know, cause I feel like electronic music used to be like a pretty like small group, and now it's like huge. Sort of speaking to like what we were saying before, how there's like, cause there's no gatekeepers, like everyone's getting into it. But, you know, I think the positive side of that is like just getting to meet like so many like talented people, and like, you know, whether or not they're going to like skyrocket to, you know, Insomniac level or whatever, like, I don't really care. It's more just like, oh, like you're doing what you want to do. Exactly. And you're like, you know, you're making it happen for yourself. You're a conscious creator. And, you know, like getting to bear witness to that. And at the same time, while myself trying to like consciously create, you know, so it's like a co-creation type of thing. It's like really fucking cool. And I'm like so grateful, like not to get all cheesy, but you know, like to meet people like you, to meet people like Angel, like my producer, like, you know, it's all just like gravy, which is, like looking back on 2021, right? Like since this is the new year, like,
yeah, man.
Yay. So, you know, before we sign off, like, what do you got in store in the near term? And is there anything you want to plug for the folks out there? I know you got a new EP that just dropped. Little bit of, you know, acid techno vibes.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, like tell the people how they can find your shit.
Well, you can find me on Instagram at Errol Bangz, ERROL.
Remember, that's a sentence, folks. That's not just his name.
Yes. Remember that shit. On Instagram, Twitter handle is the same, Errol Bangz, at Errol Bangz. Errol Bangz on Spotify, Errol Bangz everywhere, man. I did take some time off from DJing to focus on producing, because producing was my first love.
These days you got to do both, right?
You got to do both, man. And I was a producer first, you know, before I actually started DJing. So took some time off from gigs, so I know a lot of y'all miss me, but I'll be back. Took some time off, so I got some crazy shit in store.
Crazy shit in store.
It's not even like just solo shit. Like I have my solo stuff, and I've been working with one of my best friends on some like house records. We're gonna drop some stuff as a duo. So yeah, man, I'm just trying to put my hands in everything and make a name for myself, man.
Yeah.
Be legendary.
Yeah. Consciously create. Yeah. And then we will have, you know, links in our description to your Instagram page, your Spotify, and probably you have a SoundCloud, probably?
I got a SoundCloud. Yeah.
Okay. And then per usual, don't forget to like and subscribe to Side Note, folks.
Please
like and subscribe.
Do that.
Yeah.
Right now.
Be part of a small but very engaged community.
Shit is going to be huge.
Yeah. That may or may not grow. We'll see.
He's being modest. It's gonna be big. It's gonna be fucking big.
Well, thank you, man. And thank you again for being on. And we'll see you. Actually, we're probably going to take a week off because your boy is taking a vacation, but we'll see you in a few weeks.
Hey.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.